Have you ever felt like it's too late for you to fulfill your purpose? Like everybody's gone on ahead of you and you're just lagging behind? If so, then I think you'll be able to relate to this character that we're going to look at today, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was Zechariah's husband, and like Zechariah, she too had been praying and longing and waiting for a son. But unlike Zechariah, she did not allow it to turn her heart bitter, but she actually allowed it to increase her hunger for God. And so when God finally makes the announcement that she is going to be pregnant with God with John the Baptist, she says, "The Lord has done this for me. He has taken away my disgrace among the people." Because the disgrace that she had felt was the shame of being barren. Because especially for women in that culture, to be barren was to be a failure. And Elizabeth must have felt like she was a failure, especially as the wife of a priest. But here she is in this moment, positioned her heart to hunger for God. And so when she receives this promise, she receives it with joy and gratitude. And that's what happens with us in the waiting, is when we allow it to increase our hunger and thirst for God, then we receive the good news of the promise with gratitude more than anyone else who would fill that hunger with other things. And what I love about this painting especially is that I had my friend Danny model for me. And my friend Danny, at the time, she for 5 years had been waiting and praying to get pregnant. And I remember just walking with her through this journey. She had a miscarriage. It was very difficult. And I remember all the ways that she turned her heart towards God in the midst of the waiting and in the midst of the pain. And so that when I got the call that she was finally pregnant, it was such a joy to know that God had provided breakthrough after all these years. And we were able to look back and see how He had grown her in her hunger for God. Because when we are hungry, we are most available for God to do something within us. We are most ready and positioned in our hearts to receive God Himself. And maybe in this time of waiting in our world, God is more concerned that you grow a hunger for Him than necessarily the things that you pray for. What is He doing in the midst of the waiting that might grow us to prepare our hearts to receive Him and the new thing He wants to do among us? So I encourage you to continue to check out the Making Room Advent devotional as we explore this together. And the spiritual practice I want to invite you into is fasting. So fasting is setting aside things that we would normally turn to fill our hunger. And you could do it with food, coffee, social media. But in the midst of sort of that hunger cry and you're wanting coffee or food or social media, I invite you to turn to God instead and invite Him to fill you.